This effect is going to involve taking multiple layers and creating converting those to 3D layers, but providing the illusion that those 3D layers are one flat image. So we're going to be viewing a flat image and turning our camera so that we can see that it's indeed not a flat image, but rather separate 3D layers. And you'll see what that effect is going to look like as we progress through this tutorial. So we're going to start off by going to New Composition. Keep everything the same as we have been. We do want to turn that to 0,0. We don't want 10-minute animation. We're going to click OK. And we're going to have 3 layers in addition to a camera layer. So we're going to have 4 layers. We're going to start off, actually maybe 5, but we're going to go solid. And you'll realize, hopefully, realize through these tutorials how much you can do with solid layers. It's very neat what you can do. We're going to start off with modifying this layer with the ellipse tool. And then we're going to add an effect to it that'll change its color slightly after we copy this layer. What this will be is an advertisement with 2 circles, an inner circle and an outer ring to that circle. And then we're going to have some text inside, but they're all 3 layers. The text and the 2 circles will be separated by a space. We're going to click and drag and hold down Shift. And we're going to click our mask and move it up just a little bit using the select tool. Then what we're going to do is duplicate this layer and hit Control D to do so. And we're going to change the top layer to a separate color, a little bit darker. We're going to Effect, Color Correction, Hue and Saturation, and we're just going to take the lightness down, make it a little darker, but we want to increase the saturation to keep that rich green, just kind of between these two. And we're going to close that out. And now if we take our mask, we click on this layer, press MM twice, you still have our mask options, and if we take our mask expansion down to a negative value, you see the effect it's going to have. Okay, so we're going to leave it right there, and we're going to go ahead and add our final layer, which will be a dark text layer. We're going to click Text, click in here, and we'll just say we're advertising a price of $14.99, and we'll move our text inside, just like that. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is convert all 3 of these to 3D layers right here. Click and drag down. Click the first one, drag down through the others to activate those. Then we're going to go to Layer, New, Camera. We're going to keep everything as is and click OK. And this is where we have a little bit of fun with our camera. We're going to go to Transform. You can see if we modify values like point of interest, position, undo that, and orientation, you can see that we can move, we can change our viewpoint. We're not moving the object, we're moving the camera through which we're viewing the object. So in order to better see what we're doing, we're going to change our view to 2 horizontal views of our screen space here. And we're going to want to animate these effects. So what we're going to do is go animate point of interest, position, and orientation. Now we're going to zoom in on a timeline to the frames level, and we're going to move this to about 10 frames. We want this to be a pretty fast effect. Now this is actually going to have never mind. Never mind. I thought this was going to actually have the reverse effect that we wanted, but it's actually going to be fine. So just never mind. Alright, I'm going to move this camera kind of over to the right and in, and then I'm going to have to change our point of interest, and that's going to be done by dragging the X value. These are all XYZ values here. I'm going to change this X value by dragging it this way so that we got it on our screen. Now what we've got is going from this to this. Okay. Okay, next what we want to do is go ahead and position these in such a way that they're already separated a little bit. So we're going to take this layer, I'm going to move it back, and you'll be able to, actually I'm sorry, we'll move that forward. Let's go ahead and move it about there. Take this last layer, that's the back layer, the big one. We're going to move it backwards. And let's go ahead and expand that just a little bit. Click on this outer box here. Click and shift drag it to where it's larger and remains perfectly circular. And now with those each having a space in between, deselect, we've got space between the text, the first circle, and the second circle. So that now the effect is going to give us that. Just like that. Of course, we're going to put a white layer behind there here in a little bit, or some other color. We could click on these and increase our distances if we wanted. Let's go ahead and change the viewpoint so that we can see exactly how much space we're dealing with. And we can move this one forward and move this one forward just a little bit. And we're going to have to modify from this view, we're going to have to modify our layers just a little bit to get them where they look right. And let's make our text a little bit smaller. You can use the arrow tool here and I'll nudge this over. As you can see, when we use the arrows, we can nudge it to get it where we want. Okay, that's good right there. So there's our effect. Appears to be 2D, and then we can shift over to this way. I'm going to go back to one view. And the neat thing you can do is you can go in, make a new composition. We'll keep it as all as is. Now you can drag composition 1 from your project window into composition 2, and we zoom in on that timeline again. Right about here, when it gets to this point, we can start to blur this out to create a new effect, a transition type of effect. So we're going to go up to blur and sharpen, directional blur, and at this point, when it gets up to about right here, we're going to start blurring this out. So we're going to hit our blur length stopwatch. Okay, drag this over. Probably want this to completely blur before it even gets to the lockdown right there. And we're going to change this, ramp it up to about 250. You can see that it's going to create a really neat effect. So there's our transition effect. And then right about there we can start to fade this in. So we're going to T for opacity, turn our stopwatch, and scroll down just a few frames, turn our opacity to 0, throw in a white background, see how that looks. With a white background, near white. Okay. So we drag this down. We've got a 3D thing going there, blur it out, and then fade. And there's the effect. Then our next screen could have something else pop up, and then you take it from there.